And the first rule of the drinking game is anytime a Democrat. Sorry, I really did. That was a slip of the tongue. I did not mean to say that. Stop it. Welcome to the Naked
Apple.
Here we are once again
To wreck your day. We bring tidings of no joy. Well, there might be a little joy. There's some fun stuff happening.
There's at least some joy.
Breaking just hours before we started this, but yeah, some joy. It was good. So everyone have a good weekend? Good weekend all around?
It was a decent
general conference. That's never a bad weekend.
No, especially when
Oaks nuked
absolute
nuked the
fire is dropped from the pulpit. Yes.
President Nelson said some things that made anti-community heads explode too, and the progmo community too. He said, "Never take counsel from a non-believer." That's pretty hardcore.
This is basically a screw you and the fabricated horse you rode in on.
What do you have against Bullseye?
Not a fabric horse, fabricated horse. Yes.
My bad.
Yes. No insults.
So close. So very, very close.
Yeah. I mean, there are other things that you'd think would be totally obvious. Like he said that like a sexual relation should only be between a man and a woman that are married. And guess what? That was controversial.
No. In today's world. And just because what's accepted in the world changes doesn't mean doctrine changes.
Honestly, sometimes I think that the 12 get together before conference and they sit down and they go, okay, how many people joined the church this year? Let's take 25% of that. That's how many we want to leave the church after we talk.
I see fire. Good times.
We need to cut the fat. Like,
wheat
wow.
And tares. Wheat and tares.
That is in the scriptures. Anyway.
And I say it jestingly. It's a very sad thing, but at the same time, it's like I know so many people that are like right on the edge. Like every time I talk to them, I'm like, "Why are you even in the church?"
They're looking for a reason.
Why are you even here?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm very sympathetic to the, like, we need to be a very welcoming church, you know, but I mean, if you read the scriptures, like, we can be loving and welcoming and all that without compromising on doctrine. Yeah. And the problem is the progmos, they basically use emotional blackmail to say like, oh, I'm so hurt. I'm so emotionally distressed because, people are supposed to get married before they do stuff. And,
you have to remember that when asked what would Jesus do, flipping over tables and making a whip is not outside the realm of possibilities.
Exactly.
Right. Well, and I think it's hilarious because it like for me anyway, because my mindset's always been like the ultimate form of love is letting people make their own mistakes. Like
tough love.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like
you let them make mistakes, and then you just look at them. What do you learn?
Right, which entails the fact that it's a mistake, and you don't agree with it.
Oh, like we covered this in the suicide ideation episode several months back. That one of the theories, again, that whole like phenomenon is very complicated, but one of the main theories on why mental health is so bad and leading to worse things
because people don't eat enough meat.
That was
That is not one of the main theories.
that was an addendum. Yes.
That was an addendum.
No, it's
my
the
main theory.
helicopter. It was the helicopter parent phenomenon that
Yes.
like you don't allow your kids to experience disappointment or make their own mistakes and that sort of or their own
Right.
decisions and that sort of thing, and that just does not lead to mentally healthy adults.
Right.
Now, granted, one of the bigger theories that was probably even bigger than that was this like the social media phenomenon, but the helicopter parent phenomenon was certainly up there.
I'm going to go with it's a combination of all of the above.
Absolutely.
Just-
And so
just that.
For
like-
he shall guide you with flaxen cords. Is that
Yes.
that the
Yes.
quote?
Bit by bit, little by little.
bit, little by little.
Yeah. I find it interesting actually because looking back of all the times I've watched my kids interact, and as a parent, tell them stop teasing your sister, stop stealing from your brother, stop stealing from your sister, and eventually I just stop saying things, and then the fists come flying, and they learn.
If you don't listen
Not
to
my
advice, you're gonna listen to the life lesson. Like that's the only two ways about it. You're either gonna listen to people's advice or you're gonna listen to the life lesson that knocks you on your ass eventually. Like
yep.
FAFO is
all there is
always
to
in
it.
effect.
Yep.
No, I believe it was in the Book of Mormon. They said that if you do not humble yourself, you will be compelled to
be humbled. Yes.
Which
Yes.
that is a very kind way of saying it.
Yeah. Yep.
You can calm yourself down now, or I'll make you calm yourself down. I'll give you something to cry about.
No, that was my mission farewell talk. As I said that if you do not humble yourself, you'll be compelled to be humble. That was like
You'll be compelled to be hungover. Wait, what?
that is not what I said.
Where did you give your farewell talk in a bar?
Steps down the hymn book. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, my-
Sorry, I had to jump on the small misspeak there because that's where I thought you said hung, and I was like, wait.
no. I will say my parents did give me a credit card and some car keys to do whatever I wanted my last day before I went on my mission, and I went and saw a movie because that's all I could think of.
Do whatever you want on your mission. I'm gonna watch a movie.
I bought a popcorn from the concession stand.
Oh, you
That's my-
splurged.
That's my idea of being rebellious, is buying something totally unnecessary with a big markup.
Yeah. So yeah, it was great. I never had to be rebellious. This is my mom's rule. My mom's only real rule was I don't care as long as you let me know where you're going.
As long as I know where you're at.
As long as I know where you're at, so I can come help if there's an emergency. I trust you enough to do whatever the crap you're going to do and learn from the experience.
That was basically.
I was the last child, so there was a
She's
lot
done.
of
He was done.
you are on your own.
Then there's my parents forced me to get a cell phone. You're driving. You need a cell phone. Why? So then we know where you are.
So that you can text while you drive.
Yeah. Any Hooters. With all that frivolity out of the way, on to more frivolity.
The most frivolous of frivolities. Frivololities. That's a word now. That's what we're going with.
In order to establish a more perfect frivolization, we need a heavy dose of our vitamin B.
Welcome to your vitamin B.
Thank you very much.
We have the news for you today.
More news?
All of the news.
Seems like it happens every week.
There's been a rash of fires outbreak across the globe. At the very least, there's been a rash of fire alarms going off.
You can never be too careful.
You can't ever be too careful. So, we're here to warn you about that. And also, Mike Pence says he refuses to think about ancient Rome unless his wife is present. This has been a public service announcement. Back to the news. Church elder pulls fire alarm to delay vote on new carpet.
Understandable.
Understandable. Nobody wants the new carpet.
No.
It's ugly and beige. Nobody even knows what beige is. Anyway.
What's puce?
Democrats propose $12 billion study to determine what this strange red handle thingy does. The one clearly labeled fire.
Well,
Yes.
yeah.
In
Greek or something.
In your January 6th news, a Buffalo guy kicks himself for not just pulling the fire alarm to evacuate Congress.
Could have done that the whole
Could
time.
have done that the whole time.
Here I was storming the Capitol.
Representative Bowman pulls fire alarm again while trying to flush urinal.
So you left the room and pulled the alarm.
It was confusing.
I really had to go.
Panicked, McCarthy looks for a fire alarm. We bring you all of this news to bring you the real news. Congress passes $1 trillion stopgap bill that will fund government until about 2 p.m. tomorrow.
That depends on whether or not Ukraine wants more money in the middle.
That's fair.
Yep.
That's fair. Moving on to California. Newsom says new senator was most qualified candidate in the 0.00001% of population that he chose from. Congress warns that Matt Gaetz and McCarthy are distracting from the important work of voting themselves raises.
We got this depression on.
A new 2024 poll shows Trump and Biden both trailing behind Kevin James memes.
Oh.
Nobody would have thought. Speaking of our loser-in-chief, Biden deploys troops to border to stop Texas from securing the border. This is supposed to be satire. Well, that's enough for one day. This has been your Vitamin B.
Sweet melodious sounds.
That was my attempt.
Wow.
Harmonic.
That was... I think I
Simon
got
Cowell,
gout
here
from
we
that.
Come.
All right. Well, wasn't that fun?
It was
That was about as fun
Steven.
as a kick in the eye.
about that. That frivolous, huh? That good. It was that good. Yeah. Before we dig into the bushel, just a quick reminder to go check out Redemption Tactical because they have cool stuff. And who doesn't want cool stuff? That's what I thought. So, everything from body armor to patches and accessories and plate carriers, whatever you want. They have not everything, but everything you want. As far as all that stuff's concerned. Yeah, go check them out and use the link provided in the description to have fun with their stuff. Yeah. Anyways, the title of this bushel episode, dingus, is The Day Democracy Almost Died. Again. I thought a fitting soundbite song thing would sound a little something like this.
I'm sorry, but you've thrown off the Emperor's groove.
And that's why we voted out Speaker McCarthy. Former Speaker McCarthy, rather.
That one fits.
That was perfect. Yes. As I briefly mentioned last week, a shutdown was coming, and as we all know, the S in Republican stands for spine.
There's no
And
S
so
in
the-
Republican.
You mean
Oh.
GOP?
Either way, grand old party, GOP, Republican. The S stands for spine, of which they have none. Because, what better way to keep the government from doing things the government's not supposed to do than to fund exactly everything the government wants funded? Well, if we shut down the government, then people won't be able to eat food or something. Yeah.
I love that it's when they don't
Non-essential-
get money to do what they want to do that they shut down the government. Like, rather than shutting down all of these programs that we obviously don't want,
Right.
let's shut down the government and put people out of work so that we feel guilty about not doing all of these stupid things that nobody wants.
Yes, it's far better to keep printing and spending money that doesn't exist to put everyone out of work than it is to put a few people out of work in jobs that really shouldn't exist at all.
What I don't understand
Fire them
is
all.
how does this keep working? Like the framing of the media, they're like, oh, Republicans are willing to shut down the government just because they don't want funding to Ukraine. It's like, no, you're shutting down the government because you want funding for Ukraine or whatever the heck they're fighting over. It's like, so
Yes. So back
like-
in 2009, 10, something like that, is when we started doing these continuing resolutions.
Yeah.
Where we don't create a budget. We just say, well, the budget was this, so we'll continue to fund it at that rate, and then proceed to pass more bills to give more funding on top of that. And then when the next continuing resolution comes up after a month, 3 months, whatever, we'll continue the spending at the limit of spending that was added to the last continuing resolution.
So the other big problem here is there's only two kinds of people. Okay. I know, putting people in broad buckets is usually frowned upon, but hear me out. There's two kinds of people. There's the kind of purple people, the kind of people that believe that the government is here to help you. And
We're
there's
from
the kind of
government,
people,
and we're here to help.
there's the kind of people that know the truth.
That
only two
bucket's
kind
a
of
little
people.
too small.
That bucket's a little too small.
I guess
The problem
I guess
is
the first bucket is way too crowded. I guess I should say.
The real problem is that the people in the first bucket think that they're in two separate buckets, but they're all in the same bucket.
It's true. It's true. Yeah. Yeah, all the people that believe everything Lindsey Graham says of if we don't do this, then Ukraine's going to blow up and die, and it's going to be all our fault.
Yep, are just as bad as all of the people that believe Hillary Clinton in literally anything she says.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, again, a government shutdown shuts down all non-essential operations of the government.
Why are there
bring-
non-essential operations in the
Bring into
government?
question, why are we funding non-essential things within the government?
Stop.
To the
I can
tune of
tell you the
trillions of
problem
dollars.
right here. Non-essential government.
Yes.
Let's just stop funding all of that all the time.
And like I said last week, it's just 15 days to flatten the spending. That's all it should be. 15 days to slow the spending. Let's just.
I think we could do it in 15 days. Fire all of them and don't hire anybody to replace them.
Well,
Easy.
who's gonna?
And by that, I mean Congress.
Who's gonna enforce the ATF rules? Now, that's the great part. No one.
Seriously.
What if I told you we don't need the Department of Education?
Now, I'm looking at the history of government shutdowns. Apparently, Reagan had 3, but they all lasted less than a day.
Yeah.
And then H.W. Bush had 1, lasted 3 days. Clinton had 2, one lasted 5 days, and the other one lasted a record 21 days.
Ooh.
That was under Clinton. That was in 95 to 96. And Obama had 1. We all know about the Obamacare shutdown. That lasted 16 days. And then Trump had 1 that lasted 3 days. And the other one we all remember lasted 35 days.
And we all burned and died
And it
on
was
that one.
the best 35 days of our country.
Memories.
Well, the Forest Service won't won't unlock the bathrooms. Okay. Wherever will I find a bathroom in the great outdoors?
Hold up. Forest Service. So you're in the woods.
Uh-huh.
Here's a fun rhetorical question. Where does a bear shit?
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. Yeah, well, they don't unless the Forest Service unlocks the bathroom.
Yes, exactly. It's there for the bears.
It's there for the bears.
So stupid. Yeah, there's all kinds of talking. I saw one stupid congresswoman, it was probably AOC, talking about how people will starve on the streets if the government shuts down. It's like, no. And if so, it shouldn't be the government that's feeding people on the streets.
Seriously, though. That sounds like something AOC would say.
It does. It's just dumb enough.
Now, yeah, something else that I find interesting about this history of government shutdown is the one that lasted 35 days, the longest one under Trump. Apparently, it has a column that says cost to government, which I have no idea how they.
How do you have costs when you're not running?
I don't know.
My best guess is that because the federal employees were not paid during that time, they've always like had a resolution or whatever to pay.
They give them back. They give them back pay,
even though they weren't working.
They weren't working. Yes.
But let me point out.
So maybe that's what it was. There was no production with the pay that they gave the employees.
But let me point out.
That just sounds like par for the course.
That
Right.
That shutdown was caused because Trump wanted $4 billion to build the wall.
How much have we sent to Ukraine?
A lot more than $4 billion.
Ooh.
Literally, if we like the wall would pay for itself monthly, based off of how much money it's costing.
And we wouldn't be in a proxy war with another country for that amount.
Yes. Just wondering. Curious.
Oh, are you?
Curious.
Curiouser and curiouser.
See, I belong to a certain secret society. I don't believe I gotta mention its name. You know?
So apparently we send to Mexico in aid somewhere to the tune of $300 to $400 million a year from the federal government to Mexico. Now, if I was Donald Trump and was campaigning on this whole make Mexico pay for it, just reappropriate some aid. This will help both of us.
I've got a great idea. Great idea.
Uh-huh.
Love it.
Let's just not pay other countries anything.
Just because.
I was also a fan of the plan to raid drug cartels and then raid their whatever they're called, their treasuries, and use that money, the seized money, to pay for the wall.
Secure the border. Yes.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, things like that. But yes, Mike, you're correct. How about zero aid?
Zero aid. If
Especially
you
when
want
we're
aid,
getting-
go through the charities that are here in the U.S. that are built for
Yes.
that kind of thing. The government,
you-
the government of the United States should be for the United States citizens. Period. That's it. The only thing they should be concerned with.
And the only reason you're getting federal money is because you are giving us something in return for the money.
Yeah, exactly. And so, but we need to help other people. We will help other people by having the strongest economy in the world, propping everybody else up, which is what we've done since our foundation. So let's stop giving money for free to other countries and focus it here in the U.S. on building the economy.
Yeah, the U.S. has a great,
And
strong
by that,
Navy.
I don't mean pump it back into the economy in the U.S. I mean burn it so that our inflation goes down.
Hey, thanks for the pellets of cash.
Yes. Take it out of circulation, remove the inflation, let our economy fix itself.
Yeah, and the U.S. has one of the strongest Navy in the world, not because we want to send aid to the entire world as a federal government. We have a strong Navy because, well, World War II helped a lot, but also we needed to protect our merchant ships that were actually supplying aid and trade to and from the United States. And so the Navy was sent abroad to protect the shipping lanes that were of U.S. interest. Yeah, that's what the U.S. should be doing.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I wonder how many years of taxes you could stop collecting if you brought all of the foreign aid back home.
oh, I see what you're saying. A lot.
Just saying.
Hey, you're not paying
no
taxes
idea.
for the next 5 years or whatever, because we're getting all this money back in aid and we're just cycling it through the government. So, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm down with that. I buy that all day compared to what we're doing now. Yeah, in the middle of trying to not shut down the government, Democrat Representative Bowman appeared to try to shut down the government by pulling a fire alarm to stop the vote to stop the shutdown. So the Democrats wanted the shutdown.
No, he was trying to get through a door.
Yes, he's
and
trying
the
to.
door was, I'm just kidding. He was clearly trying to, but that's what he claimed after the fact, and Democrats are like defending him. It's it's so confusing. It says it's
What's really fun is he used to be a
it says
principal.
fire alarm. Oh,
Yes, he used to be a principal of a school.
You see, it was a fire door.
It's a fire door.
Fire door,
And the
fire
door says-
alarm.
The door says push lever.
Yes. So you
To
pull
activate
the
alarm.
knob on the
And so
wall,
Hold.
and that unlocks the fire door.
And
That's how
that
that works.
something that doesn't equals what he wanted to do.
However, it doesn't matter that the that the fire door unlocked, because then the shutters fall down to try to block the fire from spreading,
Yeah.
and you're trapped anyway.
Yeah, so I thought this was all interesting because he used to be a principal at a school, and I used to work at schools on the custodial side, not the administrative side. And one of the best days of custodial time was fire drill time, because I got to legally pull a fire alarm at the school whenever they did a fire drill. And I say that because it's a felony to pull a fire alarm when there isn't a reason to pull a fire alarm,
I did not know
even
that makes sense though.
even if it's by mistake. So the process you have to go through at the school level when doing a fire drill, because the school fire alarms are linked to a security system that alerts the nearest fire departments that something's going on, and they can respond quickly without having to get a phone call actually to show up. So we have to call the fire department beforehand and tell them, hey, we're doing a fire drill. It's going to be at this time. So stand down unless we call you, or if it's at a different time than that. So that keeps the fire trucks from showing up. Otherwise, you pull the fire alarm and the fire trucks show up because, well, it's a school on fire.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's a whole process to go through to legally pull that fire alarm.
So,
and apparently Jamal Bowman decided, I know I did that. That might have been why he was picked to do it, because he had experience doing it before at the school. So he's the principal. You know how to pull those, right?
I mean, if that's the case, then it was just an insurrection all over again.
Yes. And he was disrupting official business, which I believe someone went to jail for 22 years. So
was it before or after he pulled the fire alarm that he called Republicans Nazis?
After.
Oh,
perfect.
After. You're kidding me.
A situation that was bad, he somehow found a way to make it worse. His office circulated a memo.
Let's put out the fire.
Yeah.
With gasoline. Pun intended.
His office circulated a memo to his Democratic colleagues on Monday, yesterday, and the fire alarm thing was Saturday, one of those, urging them to defend him publicly with suggested arguments as Republicans continue to demand his expulsion from Congress over the incident. One posed talking point in the memo titled Messaging Guidance Supporting Congressman Jamal Brown After Accidental Fire Alarm targeted Nazi members of the GOP. Hey, you broke the law. You're a Nazi. Pardon?
Excuse me, sir. You can't do that, Nazi.
And then he had to quench the fire that his office started to quench the fire. It's just fire on fire on fire. I just became aware that in our messaging guidance, there was inappropriate use of the term Nazi without my consent. I condemn the use of the term Nazi out of its precise definition. It is important to specify the term Nazi to refer to members of the Nazi Party and neo-Nazis.
Well, I did not see that coming.
I like someone did a fantastic tweet. Guy, put the shovel down. Just put it down.
My guy, just drop the shovel, man. Just drop the shovel.
Sound the alarm, just don't pull it.
Yeah, that was one of his fellow representatives that said that, wasn't it? Esposito?
Yes.
Sound the alarm. Just don't pull it.
Just don't pull it. Just don't.
See what you did there. I see it.
And it's beautiful.
It is beautiful.
Yeah, the aftermath of that was a handful of Republicans, namely the 17 that kept McCarthy from immediately becoming Speaker of the House, were upset that, he struck a backroom deal with the Democrats to still give funding to Ukraine, even though there's no funding in Ukraine in the continuing resolution that they passed. And so Matt Gaetz stepped up to the plate and said, all right, he violated the rules. We're ousting him. And all of a sudden, out of the woodwork come all the other Republicans. Oh, Matt Gaetz, we hates him. He's terrible. He's the worst. And Matt Gaetz said bet and followed through, and McCarthy is no longer Speaker of the House.
Yep.
And just like that.
Just like that.
Obviously, he wasn't doing his job, and most of the people there agreed.
Yes. But it's just weird, because this is just terrible, terrible thing to do because this is out of line. And yes, people actually following through with what they promised to run on, that is out of line, technically. You are correct. McCarthy was trying to say it's personal from Matt Gaetz. Matt Gaetz made it personal. So, no, he's actually kind of, well, it probably was personal with Matt Gaetz because he was pretty upset that all the allegations came out against him, and turns out they were all false, but there was no retractions or no apologies or anything of the allegations against him that came from Republicans earlier this year and last year. So it probably was personal, but at the same time, you did violate the contracts that you signed with him. So there's that.
I have a wait and see attitude on this. Like, if it leads to better outcomes, then I'm on board. But whew.
So far, it is a better outcome because without a Speaker of the House, well, currently the interim Speaker of the House, Patrick McHenry, is sitting there. But without an official Speaker of the House really can't do anything until a Speaker is picked. So in an effort to avoid shutting down the government, McCarthy has shut down the government.
Is that really how it works? Like,
not as much as an official government shutdown, but it's something. It's something.
Yeah.
It's a soft shutdown.
So there's a lot to unpack with this, because there's a lot of things that this brings up. One being that there might actually be two parties instead of a uniparty like everybody believes. The problem is that there's one entire party and then half of the other party that are all one party.
Yes. We apparently have about 20 that are in another party.
Between the Democrats and the Republicans, at least. But there's a lot of different things that could come up with this. One of them being the fact that Republicans are very obviously divided.
Yeah.
Very obviously divided. And that doesn't bode well for elections.
No.
At all.
No, it does not.
You know, because nobody wants to vote. Anybody that's a member of the Republican Party should be extremely worried right now, because the fact that the party's divided means that you won't have a unified front in voting at all.
I think it's one of the symptoms of Donald Trump is people within the Republican Party woke up and realized, oh, progressivism is actually in the Republicans as well, not just the Democrats. Yeah. And
that's
so
fair.
I think that's the majority of what it is people realizing that, oh, when they say rhinos, it's not just they occasionally vote for Democrats, it's they are Democrats.
Yeah.
Just with an R in front of it.
That's fair.
Yeah.
And very popular tactic these days.
But that leads to a whole slew of other problems, because you're going to have now, I mean, the people that always vote Democrat are still always going to vote Democrat. But the people that always vote Republican are now going to be split between different
just some third
people
party
to vote
candidate
for.
and the Republican. Yeah.
You know,
they're gonna look at someone like Kennedy, who's now running independent, and think, well, he's probably the best choice. Yeah,
exactly. And that's gonna cost the Republicans elections.
Yeah,
and
it'll be fun.
Not that I particularly mind that, because I think the grand majority of Republicans, at least Republican politicians, are dirty.
Yes.
I think that almost 100% of Democrat politicians are dirty, with the very rare exception there.
Yes.
And honestly, I really actually think that about Republicans too, because I can only count on, like, maybe my fingers how many Republicans I think are decent at their jobs.
Maybe two hands. Yeah.
Maybe two hands. I could probably do it on one.
Right.
You know? And so there's no good choices. And, and people are starting to see that.
As a proud Republican, I have to say that one of the side effects of this, because you're right, not being united is a big problem for future elections. But I would take a page from our founding fathers that we need to unite or die, because the fact is we need to be united in order to defeat the left.
I would take a page from our founding fathers and abolish the two-party system.
Just George Washington.
Just George Washington, the thing. No parties. No affiliations.
Instead of Jesus juked, he George Washington juked you.
Yeah.
But in a way, in a sense, Keith, you are correct. Mm-hmm. However, there is no banner for people to fly under. On the Republican side, they're saying this is all messed up because they go to libertarian and they see Libertarian Party. They're all kind of messed up, but not the same kind.
That guy has a boot on his head. Your argument's invalid.
Yes. And then outside of that, many of them just don't really know that other parties exist on top of that anyway.
I will say the grand majority of the Libertarian Party is a massive joke. That's fair.
Yes.
That is fair. They take it to an extreme and just do whatever the hell they want, and it doesn't fly well with the majority of people. They're never going to win an election that way. However, I would say there are a couple of libertarian politicians that are very good.
Yes, solid.
Very solid people. Spike Cohen being one of the ones that comes foremost to my mind.
Yes, they just never really make it to the limelight.
Yep.
For everyone to see, and instead you get boot hat guy.
Yeah.
Or what's his face that ran for president last time or the time before? All I knew about him was he wanted
Gary Johnson.
Weed. Yes, he wanted
Gary
weed.
Johnson.
That's all I knew. Like,
all I knew about him was that he used to race moto, like bullet bikes.
Right.
And that's like he blew out his knee racing on bullet bikes.
Well, I can't race anymore. I guess I'll be a politician.
Right. He was actually a really interesting dude, though, because he had like tons of stories like that. Like the dude did everything. Right. And then he was just like, you know what? I'm going to run for president. And then McCarthy running, that was hilarious to me. Because I was like, you're the guy that gave us the virus antivirus. Why would I vote for you?
Right.
Like I've thrown away an old computer before because it had McAfee on it. And it was too much of a pain to remove McAfee. It wasn't worth my time to save the laptop.
Nothing on here is worth saving.
Oh, McAfee, this is a lost cause.
Yeah.
The only thing almost as bad as McAfee is Norton.
Gosh, yes. Hey, your Norton security's not up to date.
Oh, thank goodness.
Where's the button I can push to make you stop telling me that?
Control-Alt-Delete.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
One good thing that's coming out of McHenry so far is apparently he's kicked Pelosi out of her office.
That makes me so happy.
I'm taking this office, not you. Oh, okay.
Didn't Pelosi, isn't she running for re-election in 2024?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. That's crazy.
Is she going to make it? I mean, Feinstein didn't.
No. And that's where Pelosi is right now. She's not in DC. She's in California paying
tribute. Was that
tribute.
this last week that happened with Feinstein passed like this last week, right?
Yeah.
We should probably mention that.
She kind of news. Yeah, I only remembered it because of this Pelosi thing. But she voted the night before she passed, and she passed away at 2 a.m.
That's dark. That's dark. Like, I'm sorry, but that is dark.
Yeah. She died in her home in D.C. as a California senator.
See, I belong to a certain secret society. I don't believe I gotta mention its name. Oh.
Yes, sir.
Really, though.
Yes, sir. Just say yes, Diane. Just say yes.
Just say yes.
Yes. Thank you.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's harsh, man. Oof. All right. Anyway, he kicked
Kick Pelosi out of her giant office.
Good.
Because he said that giant office should be for the Speaker of the House.
I like it. I like it.
She said, this eviction is a sharp departure from tradition. As Speaker, I gave former Speaker Hastert a significantly larger suite of offices for as long as he wished. Office space doesn't matter to me, but it seems to be important to them. Now that the new Republican leadership has settled this important matter, let's hope they go to work on what's truly important for the American people. Somewhere in there, she spat her dentures out, I'm sure. Or
she had to pause to readjust them.
Yeah, and that or she was drunk. It's hard to tell, really, if it's dentures or drunk.
That's why it's the dentures.
Hakeem Jeffries weighed in. He's the minority leader in the House.
Oh, good old Hakeem.
He said, this is a solemn moment for the country and for the House of Representatives. The Constitution gifted us a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. House Democrats will continue to put people over politics and work together in a bipartisan way to make life better for everyday Americans. It is our hope that traditional Republicans will walk away from MAGA extremism and join us in partnership for the good of the country.
You know what? I'm going to make a supercut drinking game. Of every time something happened that the Democrats thought they could spin in the media to make it, you know, go in their favor and make everybody else out to be the bad guy. And the first rule of the drinking game is anytime a Democrat. Sorry, I really did. That was a slip of the tongue. I did not mean to say that. Anytime a Democrat gets up and makes a talking point about a solemn occasion or solemn something, you take a drink. Because I swear they've done it like 15 times this last year. Like everything's a solemn occasion.
It's solemn moment. This is he's just
unprecedented.
He's baffled that somebody elected to office on the precipice of not having McCarthy be Speaker would follow through and kick McCarthy out as Speaker. It's how dare you fulfill your promises to the people who elected you into office?
On the premise, yes. On the premise of removing him.
You have principles? On the border.
That's great.
On the border. Elon Musk decided to show up in traditional Elon Musk fashion and look terrible with a black cowboy hat.
Most
black
hobo
t-shirt.
billionaire that has ever lived. It's awesome. I aspire to be that man someday.
Yes, but he decided to go to oh, where'd it go? This apparently is the wrong link. There it goes. There, it's the right there. But yeah, he went to Eagle Pass in Texas, Tejas. Tejas. And well, he live streamed what was going on in Tejas, and well, it's bad because people are just pouring across the border. And I learned
that on a live stream.
Yeah.
Wow.
Willy-nilly even.
Yeah, he caught Border Patrol and ICE agents just letting people walk on through.
I need to watch that video.
Now, in Border Patrol's defense, the guy that's the head of the Border Patrol hates Joe Biden. However,
I'm sure all of Border Patrol does.
However, his hands are tied because the current policy of the Biden administration is if they are on U.S. soil, they are to be provided aid and let into the country. So that is the reason why they cut the Constantine wire, because they were on U.S. soil. Therefore, they had to be provided aid and let into the country. And that's why the Biden administration sued Texas for having the buoys in the middle of the Rio Grande, because people couldn't cross the buoys, which means they could never reach U.S. soil, which means they could never be protected under the Biden administration's guidelines and rules because they never reached U.S. soil with the buoys there. So
it's almost as if it was effective.
Almost as if it was, because they sued them to make them move it. So, hey, that's subverting everything we're planning to do. Yeah, that's why we did it. Yeah. Yeah, and I saw somewhere too that Musk made mention that we need to stop sending money to Ukraine and send the money to our southern border. And he was pretty livid about it, being an immigrant himself. He said, I'm very pro-immigrant, but not like this. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we should just watch that video. It's only, 53 seconds long?
Yeah, it's a little
I'm down.
Let's
down
do
to
it. Watch it.
clown. Full screen here. Do the present arms. That one?
Present
Yes.
now.
And go. And there's no sound.
No sound because you have it muted.
I unmuted it.
Crisis
So here we are at Eagle Pass, and we're going to be meeting with the sort of the major officials and law enforcement responsible for the border, and you'll hear directly from them and see exactly what's going on for yourself.
We really don't know who some of these actors are. Many people you'll see are fleeing poverty. I get that.
Sure.
But there are others that are fleeing, incarceration.
Yes, we are basically, it seems like the place where you can go to get away from the law.
Yes.
And
We are New Australia.
Okay, well, I think with that, and I see this sort of just a kind of a group over there. That's
walk
coming
north.
in. So
We have no idea who these people are.
I don't
Let's
know
walk
if you
towards
see
them.
that group, but
that's a group there.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a group being led by military whatevers.
That is not comforting.
Yeah.
Shush. Yeah. Yeah, it's good times. Good times had by all. That was it. Just a few stories, but they lasted a while, so that was good. That's your bubbly bushel of bushelness for you.
Thanks, Satan.
it's 13, actually.
Anytime. I'm sorry, but you've thrown off the Emperor's groove.
I'm sorry.
As McCarthy is tossed out of Congress.
I thought that was fitting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good times.
Good times. Well, thanks for the listen.
Yep.
Be sure to do all the sharing and all that stuff. And Keith,
Oh, yes.
Keith has a thing he'd like to say.
Well, it's an announcement of sorts. If you made it this far in the video, I am assuming
You care
worth
enough.
mentioning. Yeah. So I've decided not to be on the show every week from now on. I'm still going to be a friend of the show. I'll probably fill in for Mike when he's not available, but I'm not going to do the show regularly. Certainly, I still love doing the segments, but I'm not going to plan on every week anymore.
Your Honor, I object!
And why is that, Mr. Reed?
Because it's devastating to my case!
Overruled.
Good call!
But no, it's just a reshuffling of priorities. One of those priorities is I'm becoming more involved in the grassroots for the Republican Party, and so I'm just more involved with that.
After we spent some time dogging on the Republican Party. And
I'm trying to make it better, okay?
You are the wrong.
Emotional damage!
You are the Ron Swanson of the Republican Party.
Sure.
Fight it from the inside.
I'll take it.
Fight it from the inside.
Yes. Yes, Keith will be missed, but not entirely.
Yeah. Well, again, I agree with most of your criticisms of the Republican Party. That's why we need people like me to make it better.
Right.
Yep.
You can't fix it.
And I would argue people like you, but that's a discussion for another day.
So this is how liberty dies. With thunderous applause.
Well then. Just throw some little jabs out, why don't we?
I'm in charge of the soundboard. All I do is throw out jabs.
Fair.
Every once in a while, I get a nice, decent right hook in like that I'm sorry button.
Some subtle, some not so subtle.
Yeah. But we are recording an episode right after this. This will be a segment, which are my favorite things, and I expect to have more of these in the future.
Yes,
so
it'll be useful for Columbus Day.
Oh, yeah.
You can talk to all of your indigenous people loving friends.
Have happy Columbus Day, everyone.
That's the sound of forgiveness.
That's the sound of people drowning, Carl.
Oh, gosh.
Is what forgiveness sounds like. Screaming and then silence.
Mike, don't tell me you bought into the propaganda.
Oh, no, definitely not. But that was a fun button to push.
Always a fun button.
That's one of my favorite phrases.
With all of that, all the sharing, subscribing, the liking, and living and rating. And
make sure you check out
Redemption Tactical.
Redemption Tactical. That's the one. Gosh.
You guys really need to remember the name.
I know. I need to remember the name. I looked at it like 5 times a day. Like I looked at the website. It's awesome. Like I'm gonna buy some stuff from them myself too.
Yes. Yeah, they got cool stuff.
They got some cool stuff. It takes me at least 5 times to remember somebody's name.
I still don't remember your guys' name, but here we are.
Yeah. If it wasn't written on the screen.
Yes, that's why I've got mine as the Naked Apple.
Yes. You are the Naked Apple. Which is why the rule is, as long as it's one person and Trevor, we can do whatever.
We can record. Yes. Anyway.
Bye.
Is the button red?
Yes.
So red. Red. Here's my clap that you won't hear. Yes.
He's got the clap and he's giving it to you.
I did not hear that.
Thank you, Mike.
I did hear Mike's.
That's all that matters, really. As long as one of them is heard. Clap, clap, clap.
So what happens? Anything?
Nothing.
There was a very little.
So basically what you're saying is Mike's mic is the only
Mike that matters, yes.
Yes. Mike's mic matters.
Mike's mic matters.
It sounds like it should be a segment.
It should be.
Mike's mic matters.
Mike's matters.
Do it in the Black Lives Matter font.
With just a fist holding a mic.
Yes. And a beard in the background.
A beard in the background. Yes.
Write that down. Write that down.
Write that down. That's gold. Don't need to write it down. It's recorded. This is here for posterity.
Yes. Oh,
wow. That got special real quick.
My pens have been stolen.
Your pants have been stolen?
My pens.
Your pens. Oh.
I heard it right the first time.
I didn't hear it right the first time.
Well, we know where Mike's mind is, I guess. Anyway.
Oh, yes, those are gold. I'll add both of those.
Yes. Both of those.
All right.
Oh, I'm guessing vitamins.
Yes, yes.
Good.
I am ready. Art thou ready?
Ready art.
Ready art. Heave ho.